Legals, hey judges, hey. So this is a lot of a lie. Cause he ain't doing nothing for our nation. What did he really do for us? Honestly, fentanyl is roaming the streets, and he keeps saying that 4,500 4,500 incidents that we found out about, and now trying to make a lie just to think that he made a change of life. He's never did nothing. He just destroyed this economy. He made us step over instead of move forward. So I want to take the acknowledgement to understand. Because in a free state, what's so illegal? Illegal is accusing another nation for fentanyl. Fentanyl is derived in United States. Fentanyl was coming from United States of America. So what are you really trying to tell us? Because my clan is from Mexico, so I really don't understand what you're really trying to say. What are you trying to say in making it a great state? Because this bumble is critical, and this bumble made a lot of bad choices. 4,500 incidents of child torture. So obviously, of course, I'm just thinking of the word, but I'm just trying to understand. Because he keeps trying to announce himself like, oh, yeah. And we caught you in your scheming. We caught you in your lying. So what are you trying to tell us? Exactly. So let's watch this. Let's watch him. Let's see this reactions video.
Do a couple of questions, but let's give a lot of people up there. You know, when I do. So Elton John once told me, you know, when I do my. A lot of people up.
Yes, you do. Feral on Nefertiti Perkins is among you. And yes, you got a lot of actions to understand because fentanyl was made from United States of America. Because my client is Mexico. So what are you trying to accuse someone? What are you trying to accuse? And I love how you're going to point a finger like you're pointing something at me. So what are you accusing me for?
So Elton John once told me, you know, when I do my last song and we knock it down, the place is going crazy, and then they start screaming, encore, encore, come back. And he'll come back, he'll do another good one and drive him. Then he comes back and he hits a little bit of a dud. The people leave unhappy. It's very stupid to do a couple of questions, but let's give it a shot. Should we do that? Should we or not? Yes? Okay. Do we have a mic someplace? We'll take a few questions, ask whatever you want. But you know, it's, you know the story, right? Encores are always dangerous, especially for singers. You want to know the truth? Go ahead. Who's got the mic? Uncle Sam, you do. Good. Let's go. What do you have, Uncle Sam? I like that man. I like the way he's dressed. He's a good-looking Uncle Sam. Go ahead. Go ahead. You have a mic? Yeah, go ahead. You could give it to anybody that has a question. Anybody has a question, go ahead. Ma'am, please. Go ahead. Okay.
As a member of Moms for Liberty,
Yes.
Parental rights and education are top.
Quick question for you. Do you know how much you actually weigh? Well, this might sound crazy, and it's actually a little disgusting, to be honest.
Top priorities.
Yes.
Seems like schools have become indoctrination camps where they're focused on sexualizing our children, and it's just not right. How do we get back to the basics in the classroom, teaching, reading, writing,
And arithmetic.
history, right?
That's right.
And civics. Thank you, Mr. President.
Everything I said tonight, they could say he's conservative, he's got a wonderful conservative voice. Actually, it's a voice of common sense. And with education, almost in many ways easier than other things, we have to get back to common sense. And that is reading, writing, arithmetic. What they're teaching in schools today is insane. And most people understand it. Even the people that want it, they understand it. So we're going to do something, and a lot has to do with your governors and your people that are leading your states, and they're going to be given free rein to do what they want to do. You happen to have a great governor that's very much into it, and she's taken the state so far, and we'll have other governors doing the same thing. And it's a really great question. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, please, go ahead. Go ahead. That's interesting. Yeah, Trey Gowdy's very good. I think he's very good. We're going to have a lot of great choices for vice president. We're going to pick a great one, but we're going to have a lot of great choices. This whole process is interesting. There are those that say they're all campaigning right now to be vice president. We've heard that a little bit, right? But I will tell you, we'll pick a great one. Thank you very much. Interesting. Okay, question over here. Go ahead, please. Yeah.
Mr. President, our farmers are under attack from increased fuel and fertilizers prices. At the same time, we're demonized by Washington and climate life leftists. How do we protect our farmers from the activist EPA and reduce the costs for our Iowa farmers?
So you were totally protected 2.5 years ago. Hard to believe it's 2.5. We have a year and a half to go. It seems so short now when you had to think in terms of much longer, but you were totally protected like never before. I think you would say, like never before. We will bring that back so fast your head will spin. A big thing is to get the fuel price down. Once that fuel price comes down, a lot of other things are going to happen, including the fertilizer, which I hear is a disaster for farmers right now. So we're going to take care of all of it, and it'll happen very, very fast, very, very quickly. Okay? Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, over
Mr.
here.
President?
Go ahead, over here, somebody.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I'm full of gratitude for everything you have done for us and are doing for us, for we the people. I'd just like to ask, thank you, sir. And what?
So far, I love this question. I'm getting ready for the kill. No, go ahead.
What can you do to bring back manufacturing jobs?
Well, I was doing that, and one of the things we were doing is making it very difficult to have auto plants in Michigan and all leave our country. We had almost nobody leaving during my administration. And one of the things you do is you have to tax some of these products that come back into this country because you have to make it competitive. I saved the dishwashing industry. I saved the washer dryer, the many industries because they were dumping product. It wasn't as good, but it was pretty good. And they were dumping product into the United States. I saved so many different manufacturers. If you look at Whirlpool in Ohio, they had such a problem. South Korea was dumping, and China, thousands and thousands, millions of units in at a price that is just, they weren't going to work. And I ended that. I put a 50% tariff on, and I was with them. That part of Ohio is thriving today. It's thriving, and those companies are doing great. So we have to look at individuals, but we will be able to handle that situation very easy. Don't forget, we have a power called the economy. We have a very powerful engine, and the problem is we have people that really don't know how to use it. They don't know how to use it to our collective advantage, but I know how to use it. Okay? Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, question over here.
Thank you, President Trump. Under Biden, we are seeing mobs of illegals coming across our border. Just this last week, we saw a violent mob try to force their way across the border near El Paso. What can we do to finally secure our southern border and finish the wall?
It'll be secured on day one, and then we have to make a decision. What do we do with the 15 million people that have invaded our country, okay? And we'll do the right thing, that I tell you. We will start by getting the bad ones out. And the sheriffs and law enforcement who we love, the sheriffs know every one of them that shouldn't be here. You know every one of them that shouldn't be here. And we'll take care of business. Go ahead. Thank you. Go ahead.
Mr. President, the mainstream media came after you and your family like crazy, but not one of them seems interested in investigating the Biden crime family or Hunter's laptop. They also censored anyone who asked questions in 2020. How do we get to the bottom of this?
So the mainstream media had a very high approval rating when I announced I was running for president. And just today I read where it reached an all-time low because people are wise to what's been happening. What they have done, they really are a political arm of the Democrat Party. It's a terrible thing. You saw last couple of weeks where the FBI and Twitter, it's called Twitter Files, where they work together, and they work together with Facebook. You couldn't say anything good about Trump, and you couldn't say anything bad about Biden. They had the laptop. They knew all about the laptop. They knew all these crimes are on the laptop, and they weren't allowed to do anything. They weren't allowed to talk. And frankly, they have that liberal inclination anyway. But even if they wanted to, they couldn't do it. I think we're making a lot of progress. I think that that Congress is doing a very good job now. We have some people. Nancy Pelosi is packing. She's going. Getting her out that's a big step. And I think, Kevin, and all of the people in Congress, I tell you what, that whole, people thought it was a fiasco. I think it was a beautiful thing as it turned out. That 5 or 6 nights of voting and voting and voting and voting, I actually think that was like a cleansing action. It was a great thing that happened, and there's great unity in Congress. We do have to do something about Mitch McConnell. He's a disaster. He's a disaster. He gets his 10 guys, and they give Biden whatever they want. There's something going on that doesn't make sense. They give him whatever they want. He gets his 10, 12 guys, and they vote in order to give the passage, because you need the 60 votes usually, and they vote and they give him what he wants. I just cannot understand. Nobody can understand it. We got to get him the hell out. He's a problem, big problem. In the meantime, I hope he's feeling well, but he's a big problem. Okay, go ahead. We'll take 1 or 2 more. Go ahead.
Hello, Mr. President.
Got to be a good one. If it's a good one, I'm out of here, right? If it's a bad one, I've got to take a couple of more to get over the stench of the bad one.
I just wanted to say it's an honor to hear you speak.
Thank you.
First of all. But my question for you is, what can you do to combat transgender athletes taking over women's sports?
Well, you've done it here because your governor's passed legislation. You can't. No, it's crazy. It's like, how does people are seriously in favor of having it done, and I don't understand it. And I tell the story of that champion swimmer, and she's there and she's looking up and down the line. She sees friends that she's been swimming with. She's a champion, and then she sees this person next to her. And he's a monster. He looks like Wilt Chamberlain, but a little bit different. She sees the guy has a wingspan. She's like looking up and down. Then she looks up, like, wow. And, he broke all these records. And it's just it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You would almost say, and I said it once before tonight, but you would almost say it's people that want to hurt our country because it doesn't make sense.
On March 9th, 2022, our commander-in-chief signed an executive order that aims to give Washington elites nearly full control over our money. Executive Order 14067 aims to replace our cash currency with a programmable digital token.
That one's a very easy one to figure. Anyway, you've got it done in Iowa. A lot of other states are doing it. Some states are going the opposite direction, which is shocking. It's shocking. But we'll get it done throughout the country. It's going to happen. It's happening. It's just common sense. It's a great question, too. Okay. Yes, please.
See you. Mr. President, my grocery bills are going up every week. As someone on a fixed income, that really hurts, and it feels like Joe Biden doesn't even care about us in so-called flyover country. How are we going to fix these prices under control?
You said groceries, right?
Yes.
The groceries are horrible. I mean, you look at eggs and you look at bacon and you look at just what we used to consider staples and you see the kind of numbers. A lot of it's going to have to do with energy. Once the energy comes down, a lot of other things are going to follow. Energy is so big, it's so powerful, it's so impactful that once the energy comes down, you're going to see a lot of good things happen. And we have more energy than any other country in the world, more than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia. I call it liquid gold, and it's right under our feet. I mean, when you look at the craziness, we're allowed to go to Venezuela to take their energy, and it's horrible. It's tar. It's bad. It pollutes. You know where they refine it? In Houston. So they talk about the environment, but they bring it from Venezuela to Houston because that's the only place that has the refineries for this kind of very bad potential oil. And they refine it in Houston. So if you're a big believer in that, all that stuff is going up in our country. And it's just incredible. We have the greatest energy in the world. You know, I approved something, I was very proud of it, ANWR, Alaska. And ANWR is the biggest, probably the biggest site anywhere in the world, and probably bigger than Saudi Arabia, just that one, in Alaska. And Reagan tried to do it, he couldn't get it done. Bush tried to do it, he couldn't get it done, of course. And other people couldn't get it done, nobody could get it done. I got it done. And the first day in office, they terminated ANWR. And this would have been incredible to have for our country. I mean, literally, we were going to become energy dominant. We would have made, because it's a big, big industry, we would have made so much money that we would have started paying off debt, lowering taxes still further. We would have done something that nobody's ever seen before because we have so much. You know, I filled up the Strategic National Reserves. I knew not much about it. I said, what are the reserves that we want to fill up and that's been taken for years and years down to a low level? And I made a great deal. I got very little credit for it. But when our oil price hit like these crazy low numbers, that's when I asked a question, because we had so much. I said, what about filling in the caverns? These are these massive, as in Louisiana and various other salt, like the salt mines. They're big, massive salt mines. And I bought 75 million barrels for peanuts and filled it very close up to the top. We were going to be topping it out. And
So I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good day. I'll just listen to this. But I love the news so much. Talk to you guys later. Have a good day.